everybody, this is Rune here, and welcome to another writing vlog. Have you ever just been reading a book and you come across this little itsy bitsy thing that just annoys you so much you can't keep reading and you have to put the book down? Yeah, me too. In fact, that's why we're all here today, because today I am going into my 3 pet peeves in writing that make me want to throw the book at the wall and find something that will hopefully manage to keep my attention longer than the first book did. Yeah. Now, a few disclaimers before we get started. First off, when I say my top pet peeves in writing, I am referring solely to the narrative alone. So I won't be going into anything plot or character specific, just little things in the way the author chose to handle the exposition that I just personally don't like at all and would rather stop reading. And the other thing, these are all just my opinion, so if you happen to disagree with me, well, good for you. You don't have to agree with me. But that's not going to stop me from complaining. So let's go! Number 1. References to the reader. Now, there's nothing inherently wrong with including this one, but my god, does it annoy me when I see it. In my opinion, there's nothing more jarring than when you're reading a book and you're getting a personal look into someone else's world, into their life, and then suddenly they make this reference towards this all-knowing being that they're not supposed to know is even there. I think it's one thing if you're writing a story where your character knows they're a character in a book. Maybe they know, and then they know their story is being read, or just something along those lines. It's not something you see often, but you could do it. It has been done. I feel like in that type of story, a reference to the reader fits perfectly well, and it wouldn't seem out of place. But in my opinion, if you're just reading a story, and this person's just an average Joe in their world, no matter the genre, they wouldn't normally know that they're a character in the story, but they suddenly reference the reader? Yeah, no, it's just jarring to me. Like I said, it feels out of place to have it there. Yeah, so personally, if I see this, now if I'm enjoying the story enough when I see it, I can look past it. But this will never fail to annoy me. It'll always get me. And yeah, if I'm not enjoying the story enough, when I get to this point, this book is going back on the shelf and I may or may not pick it up later. It depends on how I'm feeling. Number 2, information at the wrong time. Okay, so this is the only one on this list that could be considered an actual issue when it comes to your writing. Not that long ago, I was reading a sample for a book on iBooks, where the first chapter, the main character was talking about how she and her friends were about to go to this party. They were getting in the van, getting excited, getting all geared up to go to this party, and that's the first chapter. It ends with them going off to have some fun. Beginning of the second chapter, not only does it start with a reference to the reader, before you all start wondering, but it also starts going in more like what happened to the main character's mom. Like there's no mention at all of the main character's mom in the first chapter, and then the beginning of the second chapter was literally like, now before you all start wondering, my mother passed away when I was blah 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 blah. And it starts going to this huge paragraph after paragraph, starts talking about what happened to this character's mom. Okay. And it threw me off so much. Like, I probably would have bought this book if not for that, but it threw me off so much, I just couldn't keep reading after that. Now, I'm not saying that this information shouldn't be included in the book or anything. If something happened to your character's mom and it's important to your character, then yes, this information does want to be in your book, but there's a time and place for things. What happened there was technically an info dump. The author decided to load out a bunch of information about what happened to the character's mom, which is important, except it was not important in that specific moment. Now, when it comes to information like this, if it has to be included in your book, like this information, it could have been woven into the narrative. It could have been interspersed throughout the narrative, or when the main character's mom was naturally brought up into the story, that's when I would have started talking about what happened to her mom. Sometimes when it comes to this kind of thing, you can get away with a bit of an info dump. Sometimes you can, because there's exceptions to most, if not all, rules in writing. But there's a time and place for these things. If you're gonna have an info dump, well, first I would try not to make it too long of one anyway, but if you're gonna have one, you want to make sure you're picking a relevant moment to bring up this information, because otherwise, it's just gonna throw readers out of the story like it did for me. And number 3, the narrative doesn't feel personal. Okay, so for when it came to titling this point, for a while, I wasn't even sure if personal was the right word. I think it is though. So this one is, it's another pet peeve. Like, it's not really necessarily anything bad with this one, but this refers to when the character in the narrative's just kind of listing off what the main character is doing. Like, there's not much in terms of what the character is thinking and feeling. It's just kind of listing off their actions. Like, main character does this, then this, and then they're doing this. Here's a little tiny snippet of what they're thinking, feeling. Oh, and then doing this, doing this, doing this. Like it's checking off a to-do list of what the main character was doing, but not really talking about what they're thinking and feeling. And I've seen this a lot recently. It's just, if your book is written like this, I just can't get into it. Because for me, when it comes to reading a character, like about a character, I want to know what they're thinking and feeling. What they're doing is important too, but if you're only talking about what they're doing, well, I'm just gonna have a hard time connecting with that. Sorry, not sorry. And that's all I've got for today. Those have been my 3 pet peeves when it comes to the narrative in writing. 3 things that make me really want to throw the book at the wall again and never, ever read it again. Well, if you liked this video, why not give the video a like as well as comment? You could share your thoughts with me. What are some things that you guys just can't stand when it comes to narrative? You feel free to share down below. And if you'd like to get early access to writing videos just like this one, you can also check out my Patreon and consider becoming a patron. All patrons get early access to my writing videos, as mentioned just a minute ago, as well as some other cool perks. So yeah, be sure to check that out as well. Thank you guys all so much for watching, and I will see you all in the next video. Bye bye!